All right, look hard at this video we're about to show you. That's the power everyone fears ending up in the hands of Iran, with the nation pushing the limits of international patience with its test firing of 2 long-range to medium-range missiles. An Israeli airstrike could be imminent, but would it spark another world war? And if it happened, on which side would nations fall? It's not as easy as you think. Joining us right now is retired Air Force General and Fox News contributor Tom McInerney. Welcome back, General.
Thanks, Brian. Good to be here.
And, you know, we're in a situation right now where we've probably never been closer to war with Iran, because they're calling us out by shooting off these missiles. First off, how concerned are you?
I'm very concerned. I believe we're in the red zone now, Brian. There's just no question about it. Sanctions have failed. No matter what anybody wants to do, the sanctions will no longer work, primarily because Russia and China are enablers. They take us through this kabuki dance, and nothing ever happens.
All right, let's take a look at the map right now. You talk about the Security Council. You talk about Russia and China. They're very slow to look at this as a problem. And the Russian foreign minister yesterday essentially said, I don't really see them doing anything illegal over in Iran.
Correct. And that's why it won't be a world war, because we've already seen Russia and China in the First Korean War and in the Vietnam War act as proxies. So they're not going to get involved in the Middle East per se. They will support Iran covertly, like they have been doing all along, with nuclear technology, with conventional weapons, a whole host of things, and they'll support them in the UN for vetoes. They're not helpful.
So let's go to the region, and let's look at the Arab nations. So you have Iran yesterday saying to Israel, your time is coming, that we're going to attack you. So let's look at the Arab countries. Where would they fall? In line with Iran, who is not Arab?
Well, first of all, what they publicly say and then what they do privately is different. Egypt, Jordan, Turkey, the UAE, Saudi Arabia will covertly support both the Israelis and the United States. Syria is toss the coin right now, because Syria could go either way, but I think Syria will stay out of a fight, because Netanyahu, Prime Minister Netanyahu, should just tell Bashir Assad, if you do one thing, I'm going to put an armored division in Damascus in 4 hours, and he can do that from the Golan.
All right, and he could probably do that, but keep in mind, too, they did nothing when Israel, a year ago, just about, took out what was beginning to be their own nuclear facility, correct?
Precisely. In addition, remember in 2006 when they had the fight in Lebanon and that, when Hezbollah fired, the fact is Israel has different leadership. President Netanyahu gets it. He understands that this is an existential threat to their survival.
And so do the rest of the nation's impossible opponents. Now let's look at the Strait of Hormuz. Why does this matter so much to the world and so much to America? What comes through there?
40% of the world's oil comes through this strait. And the fact is people think that Iran can close it. I do not believe it. It would be a tough fight, but the United States Navy and allied forces can keep it open. Yes, there'd be a lot of fighting there. In addition, it takes all the economic value from the Iranians. They can't get their oil out. They ship their oil from up here in Karg Island, and if they can't get their oil out, they don't have any dollar.
And when you talk about sites inside Iran, we had the Secretary of Defense say even if we bombed those facilities, or Israel did, it would set back them for just about a year. So bomb it again.
Bomb it again. 1 to 3 years. And the fact is that is extremely important, because what we really want is the Iranians to have the Velvet Revolution, which they started last June with the illegal elections. And so I believe 1 to 3 years is worth it.
And General, from what you've seen of this 48-year-old president, does he have the stomach to do this, to push it this far?
I don't think so. He's wobbling in Afghanistan right now. How can you go to Copenhagen when you have 68,000 Americans in Afghanistan and you're trying to get a strategy? He's got to get his priorities straight. Look, he didn't learn this being a community organizer, and the Russians know that.
General McInerney, so good to see you. And Thursday we begin first round of talks with William Burns representing this nation, the deepest talks and the most high-level talks in 30 years. Great seeing you.
Thanks,
we'll bring you back with more maps. All right, straight ahead. Under government health care, if you don't buy insurance, you'll have to pay a fine.